So we're live now. So ladies and gentlemen, warm welcome to the Middle East RE Leaders Talk Series. And today we are very, very proud to have a direct one-on-one conversation with Mr. LK Verma ji, Director Power and Sun, the biggest distributor of solar products and the key enabler of rooftop solar systems based in UAE and across the Middle East. So thank you very much, Verma sir, for joining us and giving us this opportunity. Now, I'm happy to introduce Mohita and Aishwarya as our journalists, and they will be asking you questions, and I'll be kind of taking up the follow-up questions and maybe adding some questions, and we'll try to wrap it up in 45 minutes. So let us start now. Aishwarya, Mohita, anyone can start.
I'll take the first question. So, first of all, welcome, sir. My first question to you is, how many solar components like solar power system, PV panels, inverters, battery, pump, UPS, genset, and other solar energy products have you supplied so far? And what is your target or the expectation for the year 2022?
Thanks, Aishwarya, for asking this. And before I start replying to your questions, I would like to first, thanks to the EQ and Mr. Anand for their active participation and contribution to the Middle East solar, industry, because these are certain things which were missing, and giving the energy from all the sides, bringing the people together on the same platform, making them speak. These all other, activities which are required to speed up the solarizations, which is a need of the hour in the region. Thanks for asking this question. Now, see what happens. We are a one-stop solar solution company, which means most of type A and type B components which are used in a solar industry, especially for a rooftop, we keep them under one roof and we provide it to the industry. So it means it is PV modules, inverters, connectors, cables, combiner boxes, then monitoring and control systems. These are the major items. Around 7 to 8 in terms of the numbers. If you ask me, the types that we are dealing with. Then in the same types, you have a different like inverters. They are off-grid, on-grid, hybrid. Then in the PV modules, you have bifacial, monofacial, then there are power bins. So in terms of the SKU count, if you say, we deal, I think more than 400 to 500, different SKU levels. And the product lines might be around 12 to 13 product lines.
I have a follow-up question, sir. What brands are you currently distributing, and what are the plans to add up more brands in next year?
We spend a little time on actually onboarding the brand with us. And as you know, the Middle East solar industry is upcoming and actually evolving. So, currently we are with J, we are with Longi Solar. We are also with LG on a different league, products and type, IBC cells, which is as of now might be one of the most expensive PV modules also. Then we are on inverters. We are the largest distributor for Sungrow. We do around 120 to 130 megawatt per year. Then we have recently added up so far. We are on an off-grid telecom side. We are with Schneider. So this way, I think there are around 10 to 12 key brands, and fortunately, most of these brands are a tier one companies in their sector.
One more question I have, like as a distributor, and you must be maintaining warehouses and basically helping all the installers with their projects. So how critically important is your role in the entire value chain of this rooftop solar? And
so see, actually, this is like, the essence might be of the entire discussion, which you have put it across. See what happens, you have, if you look at the value chain of a solar industry, my discussions are to the C&I sector and to the residential sector. I'm not touching about the utility scale. So in the C&I sector, mostly you have a manufacturer of the components, then you have the consumer, and in between the manufacturer and the consumer of power, you have the integrators, you have the distribution companies, you have EPCs, you have developers, you have subcontractors. So there are a couple of people. Now each stakeholder or each member of this chain, if they are not able to contribute towards reducing the cost of the system, overall cost of the system, are not able to contribute towards reducing the overall time required, and not contributing towards improving the quality. So if they're not contributing basically in a time, cost, and quality dimension of a solar project, then it means they are becoming a burden to the entire value chain. So we strive right from the beginning that what is that which we need to and how we should contribute it to this entire industry. So there are three basic very fundamental points on which we work. One is quality. It is not in our hands because we are buying and selling, so we have a very little scope. We can only improvise on the quality of services we provide. But time and cost, I think these are two very important aspects, especially when I talk about the time, because costs are too much spoken and many people, everyone knows that how to reduce it or increase it. But the most important aspect of this is the time. Now, the installer's gains if with the same resources, if he is able to deploy 30% extra, solar on the roofs, or 40% extra, or 50% extra. So this, and to something very surprising to all of us, 75 to 80% of our time is actually spent in making the materials available to the site. And after that, it is only 20% of a time where you install the plant, the solar, when everything is ready and things are available. So we focus on this 70%, and we strive to provide at least 25 to 30% of our time reduction to our customers, who are basically EPCs and the developers. And this we do it through through actually putting the best practices and the principles of supply chain in this entire process, which helps in increasing the availability by faster by at least 30%. And this has been done through the master planning. We deploy inventory even in deploy inventory in say at a manufacturer's location, at our own warehouses. So it's like a basically demand aggregation from the market on a real-time basis, drawing the projections on a quarterly or a half-yearly basis, placing in advance the orders to the suppliers, getting it in material, and then distributing it. So this is in a very simple words, we take the risk before the project is assigned or signed to someone. We take that risk and place the order in advance for that, because we have that opportunity. If it is not used here, it can be used in some other place. On the cost front, the cost is the first is the upfront cost of a product or the component. Maybe on the PV module, we talk about 30 cents, 29 cents, 26 cents, all those things. Then second is the cost of waste elimination. Now, if there is a wastage, for example, the requirement is 540 pieces. The container is 620 pieces. So the wastage in the form of MOQs, the wastage in the form of actually optimizing the logistics cost, the wastage in the form of last minute design changes due to ABC reasons. So if you are not able to handle these wastages appropriately, you actually land up in at least anything between 2% to 10% in a actually overall project. So this is we being at an integrator and a distributor who have that absorption power, because for us it's not one project. At any point of time we will be supplying at least to 30-40 projects in the region, so it can be consumed. Third important aspect, which is very important, which has been recently, experienced by most of the companies. The PV module prices are very, very volatile. It's been changing almost every 2 weeks, and we don't know what is the right time. So since we deal in a large volumes, we are a wholesaler. We always have at least 1.5 month, or in terms of a PV modules, I say maybe around 70 containers or 80 containers in a transit or in a stage where it has been moving out from a plant. So many of these, our customers, when the situation was like this, who are loyal to us or who are key clients for us, we sit across with them and we have actually given them the price benefit. So instead of if say the product was signed and procured and they were in transit at 100, as an example, the price increased to 110. To our key clients, we could able to provide in 102 or even at 100 also, which was not very common. So these are, I think, 3 or 4 areas where we work to see that if we are able to contribute exactly to the value chain and to make the size better.
Yes, sir. My next question is, in your vision of speeding up solarization, what is the technology and pricing roadmap of Power and Sun? What are the future plans of the company?
Yeah. See, the speeding up of a solarization, that concept needs to be understood a little more in detail first. As I said that, a given space, maybe a country with a given policy which is there in place, with a given set of people, if we are implementing, say, 70 megawatt or 80 megawatt or 100 megawatt in a year, with the same resources, with the same policies, with the same structure, can this be 120? Can this be 130? Can this be 140? Now the challenge is how to do this. So as I said, one is the material planning. That's because around 70% time is consumed there. Second is, there's an alignment which is required because PV module, if you say various companies have different power bills. So say 400 or let's talk about 450, 455, 540, 535, 530, 545. So this then you have 620. So at any point of time there will be at least 10 to 15 different varieties of type of a say PV module. And similarly, the inverters will be available within the same company. At least 4 or 5 will be there. So what is the basic point here is that when the project is getting designed, at that point of time, if this information is available, that what is going to be available in a Q2 or Q3 or Q4 or Q1, then there can be a sort of alignment which can be created at the time of planning a project, at the time of execution, and the market availability. So I think this is the one area where we very silently on the backside we work. Second is we more than the distribution, we are a demand aggregator. We got a internal methodologies where we capture the market demand on a real-time basis, on a weekly basis. Sum it up, try to draw projections. And this is a rolling schedule. So whatever the corrections are also required, in the subsequent months, that corrections also takes place and the new schedules also comes. So market demand, capturing it, putting the supply chain principles, then converting it into the orders and starts distribution. I hope I have replied you.
Yes, sir. Aishwarya, please go next.
Yes, sir. What are the upcoming trends and opportunities in the field of renewable energy?
Aishwarya, can you be a little loud? I'm not able to hear you.
Aishwarya, please hold that mic a little closer to you.
What are the upcoming trends and opportunities in the field of renewable energy? Could you brief about it?
This is actually, trends and technologies both are very interesting subjects. Let me talk about the technology first. Every 6 months, every 1 year, every quarter, I think the entire space is changing. 2000, I mean, 2 years back, we all were talking at about 300 watt peak of a module. We were talking at about 330, then 3 poly, changed to mono. Now it is P type to N type. So I think this entire industry has been, as such, the manufacturers are at, they are addressing the technology at the highest possible level. And that's the reason it is coming up every 6 months, you are seeing a new product coming up. The same is the cases with the, inverter. I'll restrict my comments to the Middle East only. I mean, I'll say that the solar industry as such is evolving. It is still not mature. So new products are coming from the manufacturers and the suppliers, and I think they are doing a wonderful job in spending the money on R&D and reducing the cost per watt peak. Not only the cost, the efficiencies are also going up. So that's the area which is being handled very well by them. In form of a trends, I think there are certain things which are changing a lot, especially in this region. 2 years, 3 years back, it was the industry was mostly driven by the EPCs. So there was a consumer who was willing to buy the assets, and those assets were deployed on his roof, and he was getting the benefit. So today, I think, especially in a UAE, because who's a front runner or a torch bearer of a solarization in this region, especially in a GCC. It started from Jordan, which was around almost 10 years back. And Jordan has a solar penetration of more than 15-16%, whereas the rest of the GCC countries are still at a very initial stage. So in form of a trends, I think the new and very nice trend which is coming up is the developers. So the consumer is a different, so he's only lending his roof and he's getting a benefit. There's someone else who is putting up the money, he's owning up the assets, and there's someone else who is installing the system for them. That's, I think, a good change which has taken place. In my opinion, I think same thing will continue at least in 2022 until unless some other new model or new concepts which are not relevant in this region at this point of time may come up in the form of policies.
Thank you, sir. So Mohita, you go next, and I have a follow-up question on the next question along with you.
We are aware that Power and Sun is currently operating in more than 35 countries. We would like to know the expansion plan of the company. What are your target markets?
We have a footprint in 35 countries in this region, more in the form of we have our customers in these places, and then we supply and actually service them from here in Dubai. This is what we were doing it till the start of a COVID. Then we have an expansion plan, and because of a COVID, some of those expansion plans was put on a back burner, and then again in this year we have actually put them into the front and started working on it. So we have Power and Sun in India, we have Power and Sun in Sri Lanka, we have Power and Sun in Saudi Arabia, we have Power and Sun in South Africa. And another 2 markets where we are looking at very closely is a couple of countries in Europe where the same distribution model of Middle East can be applied there. And in the GCC region, because they are very close to each other, majority of these countries is being handled from Dubai.
So these markets where you're present, I'm sure these are the most important markets in the region you're operating. So what is really driving the demand for solar? Is it policies and regulations? Is it like decarbonization or that RE100 initiative? And how do you basically envision what will be the real potential in these markets?
See, there are 2 different markets. I think I should address both of them. The first one is on-grid, which is mostly driven by the policy frameworks of the country. And at that level, it is a commitment towards climate, commitments to renewable, and all those things makes a lot, that's what are the drivers basically. It's not the cost and other parts. Of course it is, but for the future climate and your environment and all those, they drive the policy. And most of the countries, fortunately in this region, especially in a GCC, have a plan for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So there's a framework of those, policies are already there in place. Now bringing them into the execution, putting them into the practice, creating the required infrastructure, all this is certain things which have started now, step by step, started happening. Dubai is quite fast from last 3-4 years. Saudi is by and large is one of the largest country in a GCC, and has a large population also. So we all are waiting for Saudi has a policy now, and we are all awaiting that gestation period finishes for the implementation and the things starts moving at a big scale. Oman has come up with some very nice schemes and policies. Bahrain has, and I think Qatar and Kuwait are both are also picking it up. Apart from this, you have Jordan, Lebanon, Yemen, Palestine. So these are certain difficult countries, but this is a business. Now, one more action which is silently happening on the behind of this entire on-grid solarization activities is this region was having always a very low-cost fuel. The cost of a fuel was, the petrol, diesel was very less, and that has compared to the other regions. So that has actually has made a lot of generators and generator leasing companies to create their base in this region, and from here to deal with Africa also. So the PV solar or PV diesel hybrid systems are something which is actually happening but there's a lot of scope to happen it further.
So do you see this market for energy storage and hybrid RE systems is picking up and will increase at exponential pace?
Yeah. See, energy storage is subject on its own, and it can be for various reasons. In Europe, it is for different reasons. In India, it can be for different reasons, or in Africa, it will be for different reasons. I personally feel that energy storage in GCC to pick up will take a little time, but it has already started. It has started in the form of EV chargers. It started in the form of your basically your off-grid systems or your hybrid systems. So that's already happening. But to get into the on-grid with the energy storage, I believe it will take a little more time, because a lot of other factors like power tariff, the way the power tariff has been deployed, it is uniform across the day, or it is different. So like different countries in Europe, on an hourly basis or on a 2-hour or 3-hour basis, there you have a different tariff rates. So there you store and then optimize it. So I think this will take a little time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Being the largest integrated solar component supplier in the Middle East and North African region, could you share some of your noteworthy projects?
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to name the projects on air, because I may need to take a permission of my customers to whom we have supplied, because they have executed the project. But
still some projects that you're really proud of, we are part of this, if you can share.
Yeah. So some of those, like Masdar was one of our key clients, 6 megawatt, we were the main supplier. Here, 4 megawatt on a bifacial, we were there. Some of we started supplying or getting into this market right from 2017 onwards. So in a very general way, I can say maybe 60% of the projects in this region, we have our footprints. either in the form of connector supplied or module supplied or inverter supplied or cable supplied. So we have our presence in most of the projects here.
So that's great. Just one follow-up question. So how do you see the demand of bifacial going up, and vis-a-vis if we see the LCOE in the MEA region, because radiation is different in that region, of course. So bifacial demand do you see picking up, and LCOE somewhere nearing the monofacial panels as well?
Bifacial, if you ask me in 2019 or 2020, there will be hardly 2 or 3 projects. I'm talking about UAE, if I give an example of that. But in 2021, I can say it will be at least 2 or twice or 3 times of that, maybe around 8 or 10 projects. So we ourselves have supplied bifacial for 3 or 4 projects, in the region. So this is a nice product, good product, but it has to be handled right from the engineering stage. I think the manufacturer needs to do a little more work in terms of educating the market that there are definitely sincere and good benefits vis-a-vis the monofacial. One more aspect of a bifacial is that it increases the fire rating, which is a requirement of which becomes a very special requirement of couple of the projects under the municipalities, because there the fire rating has to be high because both sides are glasses. So, and their impact on LC, bifacial is a right product, definitely, if it has been planned and executed well. And if that is being done, definitely your overall output, then what you pay, which brings down your LCOE, will impact, and it actually reduces. To summarize, there is a lot more to come in a bifacial, and we should see it in, I think, in 2022 at least, the same trend of doubling of consumption of 2021-2020.
For the vision and mission of the company and to strengthen renewable energy in MENA region, what are the expectations from the government, policymakers, and regulators?
I think the policymakers are doing their job quite well, because when in 2017 or 18 initially, we never expected that Dubai solarization will move so faster. There are certain areas where the power tariff is still low. I think standardization of that, or maybe some in a phased manner removal of subsidies in providing those powers will I think will take place or should take place. Apart from these points, I think the residential is still slow. So making the residential active, the financiers or the banking systems also come forward and create some schemes where short-term loans of 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years. Similarly, on the trends of like auto finance, if the banks comes forward, I think the speed can go a little faster.
On that note, kindly share.
Aishwarya, please hold the microphone.
Yes, sir. Kindly share some of your notable achievements from your personal professional journey of the 28 years of working in India, Middle East, and the African region.
I'm a first generation entrepreneur. So out of 18 years, I think out of 29 years, 18 years I have worked in a corporate field. There was a large group from India called Murugappa Group, which is a South-based group. I joined them way back in 1992 as a management trainee. 2010, I resigned as a president in Middle East operations with them. And somehow it was there in my planning before I get into my 40s, I should give a fair and good attempt to implement and to practice some of the thought process which I was carrying it out with me in those last 18, 19 years of the employment. So we started up 2010, 11, and I think the journey was through the business consulting because strategic growth, business expansion. These are certain areas which are my domain expertise when I was even working in the company. Those learnings of last so many years has actually helped. I always believe that solar is a business which is to be run more by the passion rather than looking at the balance sheet and looking at the bottom lines that what you are getting it. Because this is a new subject, it is not an industry which is matured like automobile or IT or all those things. So in an initial phase, when so many factors are actually influencing your bottom line, I think it's a passion which makes you running and keeps you going. So that's how we started. 2013, the parent company Orange Overseas was first initiated. I remember we imported 2 containers in the first year, and I think this year in 2021 is close to, I think, around 750 or 760 containers we have imported in the year. So it's been a long but fun-filled years. We enjoy. We got a small team of around 22, 23 people in Dubai, around 10 in India, and other team of close to around 40 people. So we work like a family. People are from a different regions, different religions, different countries. But then the single area of our work is how to exceed the expectations of the market and how to service them better.
So, sir, that's an amazing growth from 2 containers to more than 750 containers. What do you think is the market outlook for next year in the countries that you're operating? Do we see a lot of demand growth happening?
Yeah. We can, we have to segment the market, leave the utility scale separately. I think there's a lot of activities happening there in that utility scale. If I talk about a distributed market in the Middle East region, in this couple of key countries, I think like Dubai was doing it every year, 70, 80 megawatt. I think 2021 it might cross 100 plus. Actually, the numbers have still not been released, but it will be definitely more than 100 in 2021. Saudi has a policy in place. Oman has a policy in place. So instead of throwing some numbers, I can tell you that definitely 2022 will have, if not 100%, then 2021 at least 70 to 80% higher demand than what it is there in 2021. That's how the market is growing. And when the market is growing from a smaller base, the percentage will always look higher. But
yeah, I think the percentage is very, very interesting, 70, 80%. So what is it? I mean, is it the economics in favor of solar, or is it like the, quest or thirst for decarbonization? Or what is it that is really driving up the demand?
So I think I should correct you over here on a point that, as I said, when the total value is less, when like Middle East, say on 170% is 170, on say 1000, say 70 is only 7. So since the base is low, the percentage,
I understand that, but still, I think it's a very healthy growth, I would say.
It's a.
What's really driving it? Is it like solar is comparatively very much cheaper from the grid power, or is it the
two strong reasons for this? One is on a map of a solar like irradiations and the conversion of a solar energy into the usable energy. I think that rate is quite good in the Middle East region because it's a sunny area. So automatically when you operate in this type of a region with the same resources, you will find that your your efficiencies of the plants are better, your yield generation is better than the other areas where it is not, because 360 days I think you get a sun right here. This was one. Second is there's a commitment from the senior level, from the policymakers, in a very phased and systematic manner. The countries Oman, Saudi, Bahrain will also start contributing it in the year, because in 18, 19, 20 it was mostly by the Dubai. So when this new regions, the new pockets comes up, definitely, together the size increases.
Thank you. That's quite interesting. I think we've consumed almost 40 minutes, so I'll just take up the last few questions. So what are your expectations from the tech suppliers? Let's say, for example, whatever module and inverter partners you have. So what are your expectations from them that can help you or the entire value chain in the industry? Do you have any suggestions or anything from them?
I would say that I think most of the tier one suppliers, they are in this difficult situations of sea freights, changing radically, and then you're down the line industries on raw materials. There are so many challenges or a post-COVID time. I think the post-COVID issues are getting more or less stabilized, and we will see them having a less impact in 2022 on a complete value chain of any industry. So I would leave it to them, because all our large companies, they're doing their best. If the environment is more stable, I'm sure they will perform much better than what they are doing it today. This is a little, I think, added to this. The new products are coming up on a very, very frequently, maybe every 6 months you have a new upgrade, and it is one company is bringing, then another company brings, and then I think I don't have authority to say this, but I'm just throwing a point on the table. We need to check whether so frequent changes in form of its technology, are they disturbing the stability, or are they disturbing the planning process? Because when you plan a solar and then you execute a solar, it takes around 6 months to 9 months time in a reasonably good size of a project. I think this is one area of a checking. Someone who are specialist in this should check this with a microscope and find it out what is the fine tuning which is required.
Thank you, sir. Just one last question from our side. Do you see the demand for e-mobility and EV chargers going up, and any plans for starting distributing EV chargers as well?
Yeah, EV charger is a part of our portfolio. It will be, I think, 22. The coming year, it will be part of definitely our portfolio. We are already in discussions with a couple of companies, and actually 1 or 2 demo products are on the way to come up. EV charging has to grow. There is no possibility of not growing this because the fuel prices are going up. If you are going for a solar on your roof, you have to go for a solar on your cars also, or at least in your fuel. So there is no way that it will not grow. The issue is only in what time frame and at what percentage. So I think that needs to be looked at through the policy decisions, infrastructure requirement, because all are interlinked to each other. See, you can't sell a car if you don't have an infrastructure for a hybrid car, if you don't have a charging stations. So you can't have a charging stations and invest on that if you don't have so many hybrid cars. So it is at a much larger level, the decisions, and I think there's a work going on. Definitely it will increase. Definitely it will increase.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a very, very insightful interview, and we look forward to more such opportunities. We'll also pen it down. We'll send it to you for your approval, and then we'll publish it as well. So thank you. We wish you very, very good luck and very good 2022, sir.
Thanks, Anand, for this, for your time and for your team's time. I'm sure there are people behind the people who are there on the screen now to make this happen. Thanks a lot once again. And I must close the session with a point that you're doing a wonderful job. Your contribution is value to the industry. I think not only since I'm on the air, I'm saying this because 2-3 days back, there was a casual discussions amongst a couple of the leaders in this region. And we actually discussed this point because these things, they are bringing the impact to the industry. And that's what I think we are doing. Good. Thanks once again to Moita, Aishwarya, and Anand. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.